10 random magic cards, rated, reviewed, given a number, day number 2. What's the first card, baby? It's Reconnaissance Mission, everybody. 2 mana, 2 and 2 blue for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you can draw yourself a card there. Text. It also cycles for 2 mana. In case you didn't want an incredible ability on the table. But, it's definitely good that you can cycle it away. That's never a downside, right? It even goes well in all the cycling decks. I guess that's pretty much a given, but honestly, Reconnaissance Mission is just a really powerful effect to have on the table in Commander. All of your guys are Ophidians. All of your guys are thieving magpies. Deep cut from the first video, but this is just a sweet little magic card, dude. I know that it costs 4 mana, but you got that. Come on, it's Commander, it's casual Commander. You got that laying around. I'm gonna give this card a 5.7 or something. It's not amazing. It's not gonna impress everybody, but there are definitely some Commander decks that are gonna want this on their side of the table. Card number 2 today is gonna be Erratic Explosion. Have I ever read this card? I'm not sure that I have. Oh, it's from Onslaught. Let's look at that one. Maybe that'll ring a bell. 3 mana, 2 and a red for a sorcery. Choose target creature or player. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. Erratic Explosion deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to that creature or player. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any order. Pretty bad magic card. And honestly, I was playing during Onslaught. My Magic playing career spans 4 decades. When you think about it, 90s, aughts. I'm old enough to say aughts, 10s, and now the 20s. And I don't remember ever having seen this, probably because it was kind of bad even when it was printed, to be honest. It sucks, too, that you have to, reveal the top card or all the cards until you hit a non-land. So maybe you scry something cool up there is the idea, right? Something that works really well. And then you have to put it on the bottom. You don't even get the cool card that you put on top of your library. It's kind of lame. Still, I do think that it's kind of neat that it targets players. So if you can put something huge on the top of your library with a big old fat mana cost or whatever, then you can just 20 the opponent or something. And that seems pretty exciting. So I guess just for that application, I have to give it some kind of score because it's really fun. But it's probably almost never going to happen the way you want it to. And then congratulations, you did it one time. I guess we use Snapcaster Mage or something like that. There's probably plenty of ways you can recur this in a game of Commander, do it over and over. And if that's what you're doing, I guess you're having a good Saturday night. But honestly, it's probably not the most powerful thing in the entire world. But give it a shot, man. It's 20 cents for a copy of this card. It's probably worth it for a fun night of deck building, if nothing else, to see what happens when you actually get into the arena with the lions, right? But still, I'm going to give this card a 3.6. It's a sorcery. It probably costs too much for what it does. But again, man, if you want a really convoluted fling from the top of your library, I think you found your dream card, man. So it's for somebody out there, right? Let's move on to Ordeal of Nyia, originally printed in Theros. This is 2 mana, 1 and a green for an enchantment. It's an aura that enchants a creature. Whenever an enchanted creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then if it has 3 or more +1/+1 counters, you sacrifice the Ordeal. When you do that, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library, kid. Do that 3 turns after you play this card. It's kind of ridiculous. And the guy it's attached to has to survive all those attack steps, and it's it's not great. I mean, I guess some Commander decks maybe want this because they're aura-based decks that have a bunch of unblockable guys, or you can't target them because they got out of hexproof or whatever, So I guess maybe there's a deck out there that's I want to ramp and I want to play auras because I got a lot of enchantress stuff, but I need the ramp because I got expensive enchantments in the deck. Maybe there's some justification for this, but I really don't think there's a whole lot of them. So I'm going to give this card a 2.7 off the top of my head. Landfall Enchantress. It's probably a bad card, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and move on here to Orzo Guild Mage. I love you, buddy. Oh my God. I just love you so much. Massively cool cube card. All the Guild Mages are cool in cube, but I love Orzo. This is a black-white hybrid and a black-white hybrid. It's a 2 total mana for a 2/2 human wizard. The hybrid can be paid with either white or black. It's self-explanatory. You can pay 2 and a white to have a player gain 1 life, or you can pay 2 and a black to have each player lose 1 life, yourself included, which I think is kind of funny. There's obviously ways that you can game that, you might want to lose life depending on what you're doing. But I just love that this is an amazing Orzo mana sink that does the 2 things that Orzo really wants to do. 2 of my most favorite things to do in a game of Magic, activate life gain triggers and, you know, a little bit of incremental damage on the side. So, again, cool card for Q, but I think it's probably not too great in most Commander decks at this point, given how much love I have for it. I can't really score it too high. So, just for old time's sake, I'm going to give you a solid 4 Orzhov Guild Mage, but you're an 8 in my heart. Let's move on, though, to fifth card of the day already. It's a card that doesn't count. It's an Unfinity sticker sheet. Card doesn't count. -1. Charming Scoundrel. That's a good Magic card right there. 64 cents for this little lady. Carmen Sandiego looking lady over here. 2 mana, 1 and a red for a 1/1 human rogue with haste. When an ATBs, you choose one. Either discard a card and then draw a card, or create a treasure token, or it gets a Wicked Roll token attached to a creature that you control. So that means that the thing gets +1/+1, and then when the Wicked Roll token goes to the graveyard, another player loses a life. So cool card, always been a cool card. Hasn't seen the play. A lot of people, myself included, would have thought it would have seen in standard, but you still catch it in the occasional mono red deck, and maybe after the upcoming rotation, this sees a little bit more play in certain mono red builds. But she's just so cool, and she's cool in like Prosper Tomebound and other sort of treasure-based decks in Commander, because you want a 2-drop that deals with treasure. If you're just churning through your deck, she does that. If you want to rummage, she does that, right? You want to dump stuff in your graveyard, you reanimate it later, flash it back, whatever you're doing, you know, she helps you do that, you know. Sometimes you just want to make her like a 2/2 haste, get on in. That's probably not what you're always doing in Commander, but I'm not going to like police the way you play Commander. She just does so many cool things. So just kind of in terms of design of a Magic card, just overall in a vacuum, is she cool? Is she good? Is she useful? I'm going to give the card like a 6.37, you know. I think it's actually a pretty good little Magic card, man. But we'll move on to Terramorphic Expanse. Oh, what do you give Terramorphic Expanse, man? You probably know what this does. It's a land, you tap it, you sack it, you search your library for a basic, put it on the field tapped, you shuffle up your library. What if it didn't say shuffle your library? That'd be crazy. Anyway, I have to give Terramorphic Expanse like a 6.2 at least. I actually think that might catch some pushback if anybody watches these videos ever. Because it might actually, I think some people might call this like an 8. It's like a fetch land, you know? Like lots of Commander decks still play this card. So maybe I should just stick it at a 7. Maybe I should just be like Terramorphic Expanse is a 7. Kind of leave it at that. I think that's probably the best way to approach this. We'll move on to Spined Fluke. Spined Fluke, only ever printed in Urza Saga and the list. This is 3 mana, 2 in a black for a 5/1 horror. When it comes into play, you sacrifice a creature. Apparently, it's a worm horror now. You can also regenerate it for a single black mana. This is actually kind of good. It's not bad. I don't love the 1 toughness, but you know, it's got to regenerate. If it had like trample, that would be pretty cool. But actually, how did trample and regenerate work? I forget like exactly the rules on this. Probably why it doesn't have trample. But I used to know this, and that's what makes me like, it red flags in my head. Like, wait, if it regenerates, it's not going to deal any damage or something. So trample would matter. And I think it used to work that way. I don't know if it still does. But in any case, I'm old, I guess, is the moral of the story. Either way, this is actually really, really cool. And I haven't looked at this in 25 years. And now that I look at it, I'm like, you know, like you're a creature with a decent power that says sack a creature, which I want to do anyway. And it's got regenerate. Nobody sees regenerate coming. It's a pretty good ability in Commander, honestly. So I don't know. I'm going to give this like a 4.76. I don't think it's terrible, but again, it's like pretty narrow. It's really just limited to like aristocrats decks, and even then there's probably like a million better ways to fill those slots, but I don't care. It's cool. Look how cool it is, dude. Mark Nelson did a good job on that art. It's so cool. But let's move on to, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Scryfall, it's loading, baby. I'll see you on the other side of the load. It's Orin Frostfang, everybody. Everybody loves a good Orin Frostfang. This is 5 mana, 3 and 2 green for a 2/6 snow creature, Snick. Attacking creatures you control have the death touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's like the same thing as Reconnaissance Mission. It's kind of weird that those 2 cards are in the same video. But yeah, Frostfang is great, dude. This is another one that I feel like maybe a little old school Commander-ish, right? To still be like super relevant. But those are 2 great lines of text, man. Like we've already talked about how that Recon Mission line of text is great. But attacking dudes you control have death touch is so sick. And it works with a couple of different things now, you know, like Finn the Fang Bearer and what is it, Hooded Blightfang, I guess it kind of works with too. So just a cool little magic card, man, that keeps getting stuff that it works with. So Again, like I'm not like rating these cards for cube, but this is an absolutely sick cube card. If you're looking for good cube cards, I'm just saying. But yeah, altogether, dude, I'm gonna give Frostfang like a 7. You know, like that's like the same as Terramorphic Expanse, like weirdly, but I really think this is a phenomenal green card that like not enough people play anymore. Have we all forgotten? They're still printing it, you know, and it's still like a pretty expensive card. Not really. It's like $1.50 for this card, but you know, like $8, $6, $7 for like different versions of this card. So like people haven't forgotten about it. People are still ordering it and playing it and stuff. So maybe I'm just crazy that it's like maybe it hasn't fallen off. It's still really relevant, but yeah, Orin Frostfang, a great Magic card. But let's move on to Crumbling Necropolis. Does this count? I guess, yeah, these count. You know, this is the tri-land that ETB's tapped to make Grixis colors, so blue, black, and red. These are just like an 8, you know, like somewhere around an 8. Maybe I'll remember that the next time we hit one of them. Maybe I won't, but like I think that these are still like actually playable in Commander, especially again casual Commander, like to this day. So yeah, 8-ish. I'd say 8 is enough for Crumbling Necropolis. But last card of the day, oh, it's Rattleclaw Mystic. This is a cool one. This is from Kanzatar here. It's only 50 cents, right? That's not bad. 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 2/1 human shaman that taps for teamer colors, so green, blue, or red. It also has Morph too, so you can cast it face down as a 2/2 for 3, and you turn it face up anytime for the Morph cost, which is 2 mana. When it's turned face up, you just get teamer colors. You get green, blue, and red added to your mana pool. So you kind of get a mana when you flip this up. Right? It generates a mana when you flip it up. And then you can tap it for a mana. So again, sort of generating 2 mana the turn that you flip it up is pretty cool, like use case for the card. But you know, as far as 2 mana dorks in Commander, there are probably just better options in this. Even in Teamer, you know, just play birds and like again like the myriad other amazing like 2 mana dorks that are available in the year 2020x or whenever you're watching this video, 2050x, right? It's wishful thinking. I still have to give Rattleclaw like a 5.1, you know, like barely in the realm of better than average, you know. It's a good like mana dork, but I'm not sure it can keep up in the current day, but still it's all right. But that is all 10 cards for day 2 of reviewing random cards from Scryfall. Join me tomorrow for day 3. Are you watching these yet? I hope so. Anyway, bye.